Hello, everybody. What is up? Welcome to the next Shred Showcase episode with Hayden Maringer. He is great. This is actually my second interview with him. But this time we are going to be talking up the Jaredine Shred collab like we have been doing multiple times. It's always a great chat. I have to steal the thunder for just 2 seconds and show my Fender player. Fender Player series, my bad. Hayden, what's good? I see him in the chat. Thank you for tuning in again. I hope you've been swell since our last chat. You seem really busy, so that is really sick. So you landed a spot on the roster. Super huge congrats to that. Tell me about the guitar that you are using on the collab. And have it,
Okay. Yeah, I do. I have it right here, actually. I could talk about it. I don't really talk about this guitar at all. So this is probably one of the few times that I'm actually going to talk about it. But I saw the Fender Strat that you're showing, the Player Strat, and that is pretty much what this guitar was. I've had this guitar since I was 7 years old. So I'm 31 now. So I've had it. I'm bad at math, but you can do the math. 26 years, something like that. It originally started off as a Player Strat, just like what you had. It was a Highway 1, it is the series they had, Highway 1 Fender Stratocaster. And so that's what this was. I don't know if you can see the full thing, but this is what the guitar was. And originally it was in red wine. So the whole guitar was red wine finished. And I kind of sanded it down. I took inspiration from this guitar player who's amazing. If you don't know him, you should check him out. His name's Glenn Proudfoot. And I kind of took a lot of the design aspects from that, but also kind of catered it to my influences. But this was basically my attempt. I built this alongside my dad, helped me with this guitar, building this. My grandpa helped me. So it's multiple generations that have helped me with this guitar, which is also insane. But it's a custom job. That was my attempt to basically emulate a Suhr guitar, which when I was that young, when I started building this and redesigning the Highway 1 Stratocaster, I think I was 13, and I couldn't afford one. So this is what I did. I built one, and I even did the whole cutaway on the back. Yeah, so my grandpa helped me with this. He cut this, and what I actually did is I sanded the neck. Is super thin. The neck is the same as this RG, this yellow RG Ibanez right back there. That guitar I also grew up playing on, so I was so used to the neck being so thin. So I kind of modeled it after that, and then I sanded it so this actually fits directly to my hand. So when I hold the guitar, it's literally my hand shape is the neck shape. So having the neck shape be exactly my hand, this guitar plays the best guitar I have. And maybe it's because I'm used to it, but I've had other people pick it up and be like, dude, what the heck is up with this guitar? It's special. And I did some other crazy stuff. I added this rolling nut, which this thing, without a Floyd Rose, I could dive bomb and do the craziest stuff, and it never gets out of tune. Ever. Never gets out of tune. Yeah, and then I routed it. My dad helped me drill this part out. So it's kind of cool. It's I had so many people in my family help me build this guitar to what I wanted. And it was just because I was a poor kid and I couldn't afford anything. And, it's one of those things when you can't afford anything, you kind of just have to innovate and make things your own, So
that's what this is. That might be cooler than this, I have to say.
Yeah, there's lots of blood, sweat, tears in this guitar. It's a crazy guitar, and I know I want Fender to build me another one of these because the neck is so thin and everything, and it's so fragile that I don't bring it out on the road anymore. And I used to all the time, but now not anymore.
Because that is a special guitar. And
it is
custom fit to your hand shape. That's good, ergonomical.
Yeah, I love it. And having hums, the other thing too is on a Strat, you get a lot of hum from having single coils, right? So with this, having the single hum, I actually wired it the same thing. It's pretty much, this is my attempt at the Guthrie Govan Suhr guitar, is what I built this kind of trying to be, because I couldn't afford one. So there you go. That's what this is.
Yeah, that's like the best case scenario. If you can't afford it, build your own and make like,
Yep.
potential.
Yeah. Especially from one of my like very first real guitars, you know, and it was a $500, $600 guitar. Yeah, but it plays better than some of my best guitars that I have. So it's proof that you got to make what you have your own, and it doesn't matter if you have like some crazy setup or gear. It's like it really is all about what you can do with what you have.
Yeah, big fact. You got to turn those lemons into lemonade. Custom built lemonade right there.
Custom built lemonade, yes.
Like maybe do your own like custom build guitar shop and like manufacture those someday.
No, I don't think I would do that. It's just so much work. It really is a lot of work, and it's just not something I'm really passionate about. Like that's what I love to see is like when I meet builders or guitar manufacturers and they're passionate about the guitars that they're building. It's like their passion is that, just like how my passion is playing guitar. Their passion is building and engineering. So I like meeting those kind of people because I can connect to them over a different thing. It's like they're the best at doing this, whereas I like to play, you know. Someone's asking if I drink coffee. I do, but I'm out of coffee, so this is just black English tea.
I got my coffee here. Yep. It's got some, I know it looks mostly like cream, you guys, but somewhere.
Yeah. It does look mostly like cream.
That is such a cool guitar, though. I might even be like slightly jealous of that. That's awesome, and the action looks nice.
You could do it. Take your guitar and do whatever you want. You know, that's what I did. It's just like anything I had with my, you know, this was one of the first guitars that I had. Anything that I liked about it or didn't like, I just changed it. And if that meant drilling holes into it and cutting shit off, then that's what I did.
Guys, if you want to do something cool to your guitar, do it. So, as far as to writing your solo, you did record the solo already, correct? I'm guessing.
I did, yeah. So Jared hit me up to do it right before Thanksgiving, I want to say. So I left for Thanksgiving. I got horribly sick. Not horribly, but I was sick. Right after Thanksgiving, everyone in my family was sick, so I like showed up and my dad's like, yeah, everyone's sick, and I was like, oh great, I have to film this then, and I'm gonna be sick. And I did get sick, and I had to film while I was sick, but I made it happen, and it came out amazing, and I'm super proud of it and stoked, and there's some surprises in it, and I'm really excited about it. But I went about recording it kind of the way I do it is I just, you know, he sent a bunch of different tracks, but in the last years that I did, I built my own track with the help of Matt Garska, who did all the drums, which was, you know, he's one of the best drummers in the world and one of my best friends. So naturally, I asked him to help me again with this one. We had way less time. Last time, Jared hit everyone up in like October. So we had a good like month to like figure everything out, you know, because once the holidays hit, it's like, you know, I'm gone for a couple weeks and then people start leaving, you know. So I had to do it while I was sick, and I decided to build the track out and just get inspiration and take really from what he gave me. So he gave like 7 or 8 backing tracks, I forget what it was, and I just went through and I picked the one that kind of I liked the best feel wise, and then I took the basic structure of those drums and kind of made a whole arrangement around that. And the first half, I say, was closer to what he had, but I changed the entire progression. So the progression has all my crazy changes that I like to do and random stuff, you know, more jazz fusion type stuff. So I did a whole rendition of that. And also I got an insane piece of gear that I'm so stoked to do a video on. I have to do a video on it. But it's like an iconic piece of gear. I don't want to give it away yet because it's in the video, and I like kind of shout it out in the video. But a legendary guitar player's piece of gear I have now acquired, and it's part of my rig, and I'm so stoked, and I think people will freak out.
For the collab, this legendary piece of gear is going to be on the collab. Okay, you guys, well, you got to check it out. It's coming out on Christmas, so be sure to check it. There is surprise legendary gear and that he's using, like this customized type of thing. Yeah. I mean, so he's really like not sprinkling his own style onto it, but it quite literally is his own.
I guess so. And that wasn't, it's not really intentional. I guess it just kind of happened that way. Because that's what, when I sent it to Matt and I sent it to a few other people that I know in the industry that I respect and that are great players. And when I sent it to them, they were all like, wow, dude, you found your style or your thing, like your tone, your voice. And I was like, oh, really? I was sick and did this. And that's the other thing. It was the first take and the only take I did. So I'm kind of like a perfectionist when it comes to those things, but I was so sick that I was just like, okay, I have to just live with this because there's no way I'm just going to keep trying to do this what I want, you know? So yeah, I ended up using the first take and it came out great. I'm so happy
like
about it.
Best case scenario when it just goes like smooth as butter and you're like, yeah, actually.
Well, yeah, so I trick myself because you know, everyone has pressure, you get anxiety, and there's a trick. So the trick I use is I set up a first day to track and do like the filming and set up the angles and stuff like that. And on that day, I have it like, I'm going to do takes, but there's no pressure. Like, this is just the first, like, getting the angles right. And then I'll set a shoot day in my schedule later on in that week. And every single time I end up getting the take on that day and canceling the shoot schedule the next day. So I kind of like trick myself into being like, yeah, there's no pressure. You're going to have this in the shoot day. And then I end up doing it on the non-shoot day. And I'm like, oh, that's great. So if you want to trick yourself into, you know, not having pressure, then that's the way to do it.
You kind of got to like prepare your brain a tiny bit depending on strategy and all that. But that's definitely a good for taking that, you know, baseball bat away from your head and just.
Yeah. The more pressure you have, you're just going to be trying to do things and like forcing yourself where you naturally wouldn't. And if in guitar, especially, it's a lot of people think guitar, you need to be super like aggressive and like press hard and like be really in it. And it's like actually the opposite. The more you relax and the less you tense up, the less you tense your forearms, the faster and the longer you can play faster. Like I get asked that all the time, like, how do you play so fast so long? And that's how you can't tense up. You can't force it. It has to just be natural and like kind of like
flow you know? Going to the point where you can like even get to that point is like that.
Yeah.
And remind me, you went to Berklee School of Music
for a whole one semester. One semester.
Okay, so even like one semester at Berklee, that can like fill your brain with so much information. And so like you have that harness too, which is incredible. So what can listeners expect from you after the Jared Dines collab? Do you have any records coming out or any special collaborations besides?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, so my band. So the funny thing is, I get asked this all the time because people are like, Hayden, when are you gonna do your shred guitar record or do a guitar album? And I feel so weird answering that question because this is gonna sound horrible, but I'm not really a fan of that kind of music. Like I did when I was a kid up until I was probably like in my early 20s, but I just don't find myself inspired by that as much anymore. I'm more into like abstract music that probably no one listens to. But for my own project, I've found super rewarding of writing lyrics and melody, and I have my own pop rock project called Everride is the name of the band, and we've been doing great things. We've got in some insane syncs, and it's been awesome. So we're releasing, I think, 5 new records planned for next year. And that we did with some crazy legendary mixers, producers, and I'm stoked to release it with some crazy guitar solos too that are unlike I think anything else. So I'm stoked about that too. Hey,
I also saw Jimena earlier. Jimena, she was saying hi.
Nice, Oh dang, I didn't see. I just saw because this little check thing is on my eyeball.
What's up,
Yeah,
guys?
what's
Yeah,
up?
and like people from all over the world, what is up? So good to see all of your support, not only for interviews, but for Hayden and for the upcoming collab. Um, that's
Yes,
so
so
awesome. So
stoked
I
for it.
do have one more question to ask you, but we are going to take one or two fan questions. So if you see any, I feel free to answer them. So what record do you have on repeat right now? What is a band that you're currently listening to? And is there anybody that you're like drawing any inspiration from, even kind of subconsciously, do you think, the past year?
Hmm. Again, I don't know if I'm just like a black sheep or something, but you can ask anybody that knows me, and like when it comes to like if we're in the car or anything like that, it's like for me, I actually prefer silence. Like I don't really listen to music that much, which is crazy, but I think I know the reason why, because I do listen to music all day long, every day, and that's all I do. So when I'm mostly producing records or mixing or playing guitar on records, it's like all I do is listen to music all day long. So the last thing I want to do when I have like time to unwind or like I'm at the gym, I like to listen to a podcast, or I like to listen to something that I can learn from, or I'll put on a tutorial to some random thing, like learning how to code some random shit, or just random things to help like stimulate my brain. Whereas like music, I find like as more of an escape. So when I'm doing that and producing, or I'm in the studio, it's like all I'm doing all day long is listening to music. So when I get out, I'm not like, let's turn on the radio and play my favorite thing. I'm like, I need to just listen to nothing and just be in my head and think,
Answer. That was a really
you
good.
know?
I did.
Yeah. So when people ask me that, it's so hard because there's no one particular, which sounds, I don't know, sad, but there's no one really that like is either like new or upcoming that is exciting me, or that I'm inspired really by. I'm still inspired by all my favorite guitar players, but I've been inspired by them since I was 3 years old. So, that's always going to be there. But as far as like listening to music, I listen to old music and I listen to weird, eclectic, random music. But on a daily basis, I listen to whatever I'm working on. So whether it be my band's project, or whether it be an artist that I'm producing, or an artist I'm writing with, or an artist I'm mixing, it's all,
Right. And that's like an
random.
incredible answer, because I didn't think about the fact that prolific
Yeah.
mixer and masterer and stuff like that, right? You like produce and all the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
So you do have to give your ears a pretty fair rest anyways in between those things, because it can get strenuous and you can get fatigue and it just sucks. And I don't even like produce consistently, and I know what that can be like, and you just dives.
Yeah. It's a
Gotta
lot.
keep
It's a
your
lot
ears
on a daily
fresh,
basis.
Yes. Absolutely. So we do have a couple questions for you. Jeriel is asking you, is Dave Mustaine the greatest guitarist ever?
According to my younger brother Steele, yes. I mean, he's a phenomenal player. I mean, what is there to say? The whole thing with Metallica and then branching out and creating, like, yeah, he's an icon, and his playing, like, yeah, so great, and his writing, like, I prefer that stuff more to Metallica, honestly. I wasn't really a huge Metallica guy growing up. I wasn't really into the heavier stuff for some reason. I was more into like Van Halen.
Yeah. Though, and I think like that definitely shows in your influences when you're.
I think so too. Yeah, I don't really do like the metal linear scale shredding type stuff. I try to avoid that. I know all that stuff, but I try to avoid it because it's just not, it doesn't inspire me.
And that's totally fair. This is interesting, but a lot of the people I'm interviewing have had similar answers when it comes to the shred stuff and the music part. They're like, well, I don't really listen to music, nor do I really listen to like shred. But like I'm on this collab,
really?
and like they love music, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's to the point where they're like making their own music all the time, or they're like producing or collaborating or whatever. They just themselves listening to it when they unwind. They find themselves jamming instead, or whatever. Which we're
yeah. that's true. I love playing fast guitar, so I don't really consider anything shredding. I just like crazy musical stuff. So it could be the craziest fusion, out of time, random thing. To me, that's just music.
Yeah,
It's not
and
really like
that's a good
shredding,
way
you
to
know?
put it, for sure. So one last question here. Is there anybody else on the Jared Dines Shred collaboration that you kind of like want to shout out, or do you have any close buddies that are on that collab that
There's so many people. Yeah, Beth. Yeah, Matt's girlfriend Beth is an amazing guitar player. She's
oh,
going to be on it this year, which is awesome. She has a thick piece. Yeah, I think you did an interview with her as well. So many. I mean, everyone's on this. It's crazy. When I was looking at the list, I was like, dang, this is way more than last year. Last year it was like probably a third, you know, and I think this year is going to be a lot of people, and the pieces are shorter, so I think it's going to be a treat. Like there's going to be a lot of surprises, and I don't know who the official lineup is. I don't know what Jared got lined up. I know some things, but not everything. But I'm stoked to see everyone's pieces. Yeah, I mean, there's so many amazing players
gonna
on
be
the
a
list,
great big
you know.
shreddy surprise, which is perfect for Christmas. It's like opening up a big shred present.
Yes, I know. On Christmas
Perfect.
Day, why not? The Christmas shred. I I was thinking I should have done like a Christmas like classical piece or done some random thing like
They
that. I don't know why no
might.
one's
They
done that.
might.
They might. Maybe they will.
Somebody's
But
gonna be
no. I
dressed
mean,
up. I know
we'll
it.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One more question here.
someone will.
From B.Kephar, he's been kind
Okay.
of like tuning in consistently here. Does Hayden have classical
Hi.
guitar influences? Classical.
Classical guitar. I do. Yeah, I love classical guitar. But as far as like learning it, and I spent a good time of it when I was on it when I was a kid. Uh, the issue for me was one, I bite my nails, which is a horrible habit, but not that horrible if you play guitar. So for guitar, my nails are always like nubs, so I can play and don't have to worry about it. But for classical guitar, you need long nails. You know, you need that for that technique. You need your nails to be long on your right hand. So for me, that was always a struggle to be like, if I do that, it's gonna affect how I hold a pick. Or if I want to do tapping on the guitar and learn crazy techniques, like I'm not gonna be able to do both. So I ventured down that route when I was a kid, but I was more into like Django Reinhardt, you know, more jazz style of like, you know, he played a classical guitar, I guess you could say, but more. There's some amazing. I'm blanking on their names, but there's this one guy that did all the Paganini pieces on classical. He's one of the best classical guitar players in the world, and I'm spacing on his name. I can't think of it. I think he's from Japan, and just like you listen to it, and you're like wow, like who? This is the what else do you want to do on the guitar? He literally made it like a full piano instrument, you know, to where he's playing every movement with harmony, melody, bass line. Like I love all that stuff. And I try to do the same thing on electric guitar, but yeah, I haven't jumped down the rabbit hole of like growing my nails out. And if I did, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So that's why. That's why I always thought classical guitar is like, dang, I wish you could just do it with normal, you know, without classical long
Yeah,
fingernails and all that
sometimes you
stuff.
kind of like gotta pick and choose, unfortunately, with those things. I mean, you could like wear fake nails. I don't know if that would be like.
I'll get a a manicure with some
Yeah,
long nails. I could do that. They should make like temporary stick-on things for classical guitar players where you can just like stick them on. Maybe I'll
that's
get those
not a
and
bad
release them.
idea. Why people not thought of that?
I don't know. Well, maybe because they don't want to be walking around with like
Yeah.
glued on nails, long
Facts.
cat nails on
Well, we
their
definitely
hand.
got a lot of Hayden love in here. You guys check out the collabs coming out on Christmas. The next interview that I have is with
Yeah.
MAB, sorry, I can't talk, Michael Angelo Vadio. Um,
Yeah.
and,
What a player,
actually,
man.
I have done an interview with Hayden previously, which will be published on Guitar World this month, I'm hoping for. It's actually just got
Yeah.
published a few hours ago, so I'm gonna go post that. So yeah, that's definitely cool. Stay updated with it. will be on it.
That's super cool.
And yeah, can't wait to see your solo on the collab. It's gonna be sick.
Thank you so much. You rock. Just like everything that you've been doing and supporting the guitar community, and like everything's always so positive, and I think
Thanks,
you just
dude.
gotta
You
keep going with
too.
what
I'm
you're doing.
always help you and you know help you promote whatever you're doing. That's what we do.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate
Heck
it.
yeah.
And thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoy my crazy randomness playing.
Okay, take care, everybody.